No Netflix, no phones, no video games, no music streaming at 2 a.m. So what did people actually do when they weren't hunting, gathering, or trying to stay alive? Here's the surprising part. Ancient humans had fun, real fun, the kind that laughs, competes, and gets a little too loud around the fire. Today we're digging into what fun actually looked like before entertainment was something you bought or downloaded. I'm G, and this is what ancient humans did just to enjoy being alive. Here's something worth sitting with. Games aren't a modern invention. They're ancient, and they show up almost everywhere humans do. Archaeologists have found dice-like objects, carved from bone and stone, dating back tens of thousands of years. Not tools, not weapons, just objects designed purely for play. Some of the oldest board game-like objects ever discovered come from sites in the Middle East, with patterns carved in a stone that closely resemble simple strategy games still played today. Think about that. Long before writing existed, humans were already inventing games with rules, turns, and strategy. Why would evolution bother with that? Games aren't food. Games don't build shelter. But games do something else, something quietly essential. They teach skills without the pressure of real consequences. A wrestling match between two young men isn't just entertainment. It's practice for real physical conflict without anyone actually getting hurt. A throwing game with stones sharpens accuracy that later matters enormously during an actual hunt. Play, in other words, was training disguised as fun. And because it felt good, nobody had to force anyone to practice. If games train the body, music trains something else entirely, the group itself. We've talked before about how fire created a nightly gathering point for early humans. And where people gathered, music followed almost immediately. Archaeologists have discovered flutes carved from bird bone and mammoth ivory, dating back over 40,000 years. These aren't crude objects. Some show careful, precise craftsmanship, clearly made by someone who understood exactly what note they wanted to hit. Singing likely came even earlier than instruments. Humming, rhythmic chanting, clapping in unison, all of it existing long before any carved flute ever touched a human's lips. Here's why this mattered so much. Singing and dancing together does something powerful to a group. It synchronizes people physically and emotionally in a way almost nothing else does. Modern research on group singing shows it triggers a release of oxytocin, the same hormone linked to bonding and trust. Ancient humans didn't know the chemistry, but they absolutely felt the effect. A group that sang together, danced together, and laughed together at night likely trusted each other more the next morning, when survival again depended on cooperation. Before movies, before books, before any written word existed, humans still needed stories. Desperately. Storytelling around the fire wasn't just filling time. It was how humans processed fear, taught lessons, and entertained each other, often all at once. A hunter might exaggerate the size of the leopard he barely escaped. Not to lie, exactly, but because a better story earned more attention, more laughter, more status within the group. Anthropologists studying modern hunter-gatherer societies, like the Juhoansi and the Kalahari, have found that a huge percentage of nighttime conversation is devoted purely to storytelling, gossip, and humor, not practical survival talk. Daytime conversation tends to be logistical. Nighttime conversation, once the fire's lit and the day's work is done, shifts almost entirely toward entertainment. This matters because it tells us something important. Fun wasn't a luxury squeezed into ancient life. It was baked directly into the daily rhythm, expected, not earned. Here's something modern life tends to forget. Adults play too, constantly, without any guilt attached to it. Wrestling matches between grown men were common in many traditional societies, functioning as both competition and pure entertainment. Dancing wasn't limited to children either. Entire communities, adults included, danced together during celebrations, rituals, and ordinary evenings with nothing special happening at all. Even simple things counted as play. Teasing each other, playful arguments, inventing nicknames, making jokes at someone's expense, in a way everyone understood as affectionate, not cruel. Modern adults often feel like play is something you age out of, something reserved for children before real responsibilities take over. Ancient humans clearly didn't see it that way. Play wasn't a childhood phase. It was a lifelong part of being human, right alongside hunting, gathering, and raising the next generation. So, what did ancient humans actually do for fun? They played games that secretly trained survival skills. They sang and danced together, bonding the entire group without realizing exactly why it worked. They told stories that turned an ordinary hunting trip into something worth laughing about for years. And they never outgrew any of it. Fun wasn't separate from survival. In a strange way, it was part of survival, quietly holding groups together through trust, laughter, and shared memory. I want to hear from you. If you had to survive without any modern entertainment, what do you think you'd invent first? A game? A song? A story? Let's talk about it in the comments. And if you're enjoying these deep dives into what ancient daily life actually looked like, go ahead and subscribe. There's a lot more of this history still waiting to be uncovered. I'm G, and I'll see you in the next one.